Claude Code might be the most powerful research agent on the planet, but you need to add this one tool to unlock it. Now, most people's version of Claude Code research is just telling it to use the web search tool and praying that whatever it comes back with is good enough. But we can do better. Because what if I told you with just 5 minutes of setup, we could create workflows inside of Claude Code that are able to scrape any section of YouTube, pull their captions, push that information to a free, robust, pre-built RAG system that is able to do all the heavy lifting and analysis for us, and then take that analysis and give us deliverables like slide decks, infographics, podcasts, you name it, all while costing us virtually zero tokens. Now, if that sounds way too good to be true, you would normally be right, but not in this case. So let me introduce you to the most underrated AI tool in the game today, NotebookLM. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how to combine the powers of Claude Code and NotebookLM to replace a research stack for free that would otherwise cost you hundreds of dollars a month to build and maintain. I'm really excited to show you guys this one, so let's hop into it. So let's kick this video off with a demo so you can see how we can use Claude Code to harness all the features of NotebookLM without us ever leaving the terminal. Now, this prompt's gonna have Claude Code do a number of things. First, we are gonna use our custom YouTube search skill to find the latest trending videos on Claude Code skills. And don't worry, I will show you all these skills and how to get them in a second. After we find the video URLs, I want Claude Code to send those URLs over to NotebookLM using the NotebookLM skill. I then want NotebookLM to do analysis on those videos to figure out what are the top load skills, and I want to get that analysis sent to us. Furthermore, I want a deliverable. I don't just want the text analysis. I want an infographic in a handwritten blueprint style depicting that analysis on the top skills. So with one prompt, we are going to scrape YouTube. We're going to source all of our data. We're going to essentially put it into a RAG system because that's what NotebookLM is. We're going to have NotebookLM do all the analysis and the deliverables for us off-site, which means we don't pay for that in tokens, and we get all that for free. So let's see how it works. So here's what we got. Claude Code uploaded 20 YouTube sources into NotebookLM for analysis. NotebookLM then came back with the top 5 Claude Code skills that you see here, as well as emerging trends for how they're used. It then created that infographic deliverable for us, which automatically populated inside of our project folder. So here's a look at that infographic. Again, this is Nano Banana Pro under the hood. It's actually being called. And the text here and all the visuals, A, fit the style that we called for, which was like a handwritten blueprint type style. And secondly, and more importantly, all this content is based on the videos and the analysis of those videos. It isn't just making stuff up. And we can also see here inside of Claude Code the videos it grabbed, the title, the creator, the views, the duration, and the date. And all this is reflected inside of NotebookLM itself. I can see all the sources it upload. I can see all of the analysis. I can see the blueprint guide that we asked for. And while this demo might seem like a rather simplistic application of this, I cannot stress enough the value add of combining these two tools, because this goes way beyond just automating the source process for NotebookLM. Everything we did here, we could have done manually inside of NotebookLM, right? I could have gone through YouTube manually. I could have found all the videos I want. I could have copy pasted them in. I could have gotten the analysis and I could have gotten the deliverable. The fact that we can automate that is nice, but it's more than that. It's the fact that I can bring all that analysis into my Claude Code ecosystem effortlessly. And the use cases of that workflow are pretty much infinite. And the second reason why this combination of tools is so powerful has everything to do with the straight up power of NotebookLM. If you try to recreate what NotebookLM does, which is like a scraping system into a RAG system, into an analysis system, into a deliverable system, right, with the infographics, the slide deck, all of that, it would be a gigantic pain in the butt to do. As someone who has tried it, at least on the research side with things like N8N, it's not a simple process. Furthermore, it costs money. And this whole thing is free, which is in large part why I'm so excited to share it with you. And another reason you should be pumped is because how simple it is to set this whole thing up, which is what we're going to cover now. So when it comes to setting this up, you're probably thinking, hey, Chase, how do we actually connect NotebookLM to Claude Code, considering the fact that NotebookLM does not have a public API? Well, luckily for us, there's people much smarter than you or I who have already solved this problem. In this case, it is Tang Ling, and we will be standing on his shoulders today as we use the NotebookLM-Py GitHub repo to essentially act as an unofficial Python API for NotebookLM. But before we set up NotebookLM, we need to solve the first part of our pipeline, which is actually the YouTube search and the sourcing of the data we want NotebookLM to do analysis on. And for that, I have a custom YouTube search skill for Claude Code that does all of this for you. It uses a Python script that relies on the YT-DLP dependency to scrape YouTube's metadata for us. So when I ask it for, hey, Claude Code skills, it's just like us going on YouTube and searching in Claude Code skills. It grabs title, views, author, all that important stuff. And this skill you see right here inside of Claude Code teaches Claude Code how to best use this script. Now, there's two ways to get this skill and this script up and running. The first is rather simple. You just go inside of Claude Code and explain that you wanted to build this custom skill for you, that you want to use the YT-DLP dependency to create a custom YouTube scraper. Or if you want this entire YouTube search skill setup MD file, and you can just download it and hand it to Claude Code, you can do that too. And you can get it by heading to my free school community, which you can find a description for. Now, speaking of my school communities inside of Chase AI Plus, you can also find my Claude Code Masterclass, which I just released a few days ago. So if you're someone who is kind of in the beginning of their AI journey and is trying to figure out how can I best leverage Claude Code, even if I'm not technical, but I really want to master what is definitely the most powerful AI tool in the game, well, that's the place for you. And if you're interested in that, just check the link in the pinned comment. So once you download the YouTube search skill setup file, just give it to Claude Code and tell it to go to work, or you can just manually prompt Claude Code to build it for you. Now let's head back here and set up the NotebookLM connection. So I'll put a link to this down in the description as well. And the install is pretty simple. So to install this, we are just going to copy these commands, paste it inside of our terminal, which means, hey, if you're looking at Claude Code, you're wrong. You need to open a second terminal that looks like this and paste in those commands. After you run these initial installation commands, what you want to do is scroll down here, and we're going to have to run one more command in the CLI, and that's the NotebookLM login command. Same thing as before, head into another terminal, paste this in there. That's going to open a new window in Chrome. All you have to do is log in. You just have to do it once, and you're all set. Now, after you authenticate with the NotebookLM login, there's one more thing you have to do, and we need to do the skill. So to do the skill inside of Claude Code, right, you can either run this command in the terminal or just tell Claude Code to do it. So understand also what we've done. We've done two things on the NotebookLM side. You have the skill, and then you have like the actual API of the program. Remember, skills are just prompts. It's just text telling Claude Code how to do something in a specific manner. So all this information you see here about, hey, here's how we generate content, here's how we create the notebook. This skill is teaching Claude Code how to do that. So once it's installed, you just need to tell Claude Code, hey, I want you to use NotebookLM to create flashcards or an infographic or slide deck. It's that easy. Everything's just in plain language. And if you're wondering what exactly you can do with this program, well, it's all here inside of the GitHub. Anything you can do in NotebookLM manually, you can do with the API and some. As you can see here, beyond the web UI, we can also do batch downloads, export the quiz and flashcards, et cetera, et cetera. So we actually get more functionality using this program than you would do just loading up NotebookLM yourself. So let's actually go through it one step at a time so you understand how it's working. So the first thing is that YouTube search skill. So like any skill, we can either use it as a slash command or you can just use plain language. But if I do YT-search, you see we have query and then the count. So what are we looking for? Hey, we're looking for Claude Code skills. And so while in the demo, we did everything at once, I think it's useful to break it up sometimes so you can first get eyes on what your sources are actually going to be. So here's the results it comes back with, right? At any time, we can also check the YouTube links ourselves. And what's nice with this skill is it will also give you some insight about what's actually going on with what it brought back. So if you're happy with the sources, now we can push it into NotebookLM. So again, you can just use plain language. Create a new notebook in NotebookLM titled Chase Demo with these sources we just pulled. And we can see it created the notebook, and now it's going to be populating it with its sources. So after a couple minutes, all 20 sources are loaded, and you're limited to 50 sources with NotebookLM. And at this point, you can have Notebook do whatever you want. So we can say, based on those videos, what does NotebookLM believe is the #1 Claude Code skill? Now, again, the cool thing with this is all this analysis is offloaded. Claude Code isn't doing this analysis. Claude Code isn't spending tokens. It's only spending a small amount of tokens to send that request to NotebookLM and bring it back. But all the thinking is done by Google, and they're paying for it. So Claude Code grabbed NotebookLM's analysis, and we can see that reflected here inside of NotebookLM itself. So you can always double check and click inside of NotebookLM if you wanted to see like what captions it's referencing to. And this cadence also applies for all the deliverables. So, right, if you want the audio overview, the mind map, the flashcards, the infographics, anything you see over here on the right, just prompt Claude Code and it will do it for you. It's that easy. So how you end up leveraging this research workflow is ultimately up to you, but I really can't stress enough how wild this thing is. It seems pretty simple on the surface, but I'm telling you, if you've tried to deal with anything like this, especially with the YouTube video stuff and actually trying to create some like corpus of knowledge from these videos in a way that Claude Code or some other agentic coder can interact with it, it's pretty difficult, right? And it's very time consuming and it can be rather brittle. Yet all of this is abstracted away for free with NotebookLM. So I think this is an awesome tool. I hope you can get some use out of it. As always, like I said before, all the resources can be found in my school communities. If you need the MD file for the skill, for the YouTube search skill, make sure you see that in the free one. And again, if you're a little more serious about this stuff and you're like, I really just want to have like a Claude Code masterclass that gets me from like 0 to AI dev, make sure to check out Chase AI Plus. So let me know what you thought of this in the comments. And as always, I'll see you around.